Well, the stakes in this election have never been higher, but following Joe Biden's decision to name a California liberal like Kamala Harris to the ticket, the choice has never been clearer. And look, 4 years ago, when President Trump called and asked me to join this ticket, I said yes in a heartbeat because I believed in his vision to rebuild our military, to revive our economy by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, fighting for free, fair trade, unleashing American energy, standing up for life and liberty and appointing conservatives to our courts, and standing with law enforcement at every level. And Joe Biden's decision to add Kamala Harris to the ticket confirms everything President Trump and I have been saying, and that is that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party have been overtaken by the radical left. Kamala Harris, like Joe Biden, supports higher taxes, socialized medicine, open borders, abortion on demand, and where Joe Biden said he'd be willing to cut funding to police, she said recently that she thought that we should reimagine the police in this country. And I just have to tell you, I like the matchup. It's on, Sean. I can't wait to get back out there. I'll be in Iowa tomorrow, telling the story of what this president has done, how we made this country stronger, more prosperous in our first 3 years, how President Trump has seen us through the worst pandemic in 100 years, and how we've already created more jobs in the last 3 months than Joe Biden and Barack Obama created in their 8 years in office. I'm excited to tell the story. I think Kamala Harris being added to the ticket.
Wow, let's dissect this for a minute. That's a pretty bold claim considering that 40 million Americans are unemployed right now. You heard it yourself, Vice President Mike Pence bragging on the economy when the economy is at depression levels of unemployment. And to brag on the fact that Donald Trump has seen us through the worst pandemic in 100 years when 167,000 Americans are dead. I mean, that's a level of hubris and outright propaganda that even surprises me. And I've been doing this for a while. I've been following Republican propaganda for some time, and this is the next level. And so I really was curious, like, what in the world is he talking about? Like, from what perspective is he talking about? And I just want to pull an image up on your screen so that you can kind of get an idea of how insidious and how willing they are to spin the truth into outright propaganda. This is the official unemployment rate, and you can see over on the right-hand side in 2020, the unemployment rate got underneath 5% before the pandemic, and after the pandemic, it shot up to 15%. That little bitty space between 15% down to 10% in 2020 is what this guy is talking about. He's talking about He's essentially talking about us losing 40 million jobs, but then we added on 5 million jobs in 1 quarter. Now, this is not even at the end of the pandemic, right? This is not even at the end of their term, of their first term, right? We still have unemployment numbers coming in. And so the best way to compare this, someone was sharing with me, is like if you go to a poker game and you lose $2 million in the first hour, but then in the second hour, you win $1 million. Well, it's technically true that you won $1 million playing poker, but you didn't mention the other $1 million that you lost. In this case, he's not mentioning the 40 million people who lost their jobs. So this is just a new level of propaganda from the Republican Party that here's the other thing. It's extremely stupid. I don't I don't even know how else to describe it. I mean, I can say it's ignorant, but it's beyond ignorant. It's extremely stupid because he's pointing Americans to the economy to look at the economy and examine their performance on the economy when their performance on the economy has been abysmal. And he's asking them to look at Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus when Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus has been abysmal. 160,000+ people are dead. 40 million Americans don't have a job right now. 5.4 million Americans don't have health insurance. They just lost their health insurance on top of all the other Americans who never had health insurance to begin with. 1/3 of Americans were unable to pay their rent in July. And now we're facing about 40 million evictions in this country. And so for Mike Pence to point at the economy and point at Donald Trump's handling of COVID-19 to say, hey, look, guys, we're doing great. It's a level of derangement that I think he's counting on one thing that I haven't mentioned yet. It's deranged for him to point in that direction, but we're dealing with a Republican Party that is at a state of willing delusion. They're willingly delusional around what they believe. So they are going to start saying this. They know that they can get their base, that 36% of Donald Trump supporters who never leave him, no matter what he does. They are now going to get those talking points going around the country. And what's going to happen is you're going to have people, Republicans, who normally would have supported Donald Trump, look at the reality of their material condition, the fact that they don't have a job, the fact that most of their family members have lost their job, the fact that some of their loved ones have lost their lives. And they're going to compare their reality to what Mike Pence and the Republican Party and Donald Trump's campaign is saying. Here's the big question. Will they be willing? Will those conservative supporters of Donald Trump be willing to embrace the reality of how terrible their condition is because of Donald Trump? Or will they reject the truth and accept the fact that 2 + 2 = 5, according to what the party demanded of them?